right, go ahead and call this meeting to order. First item is roll call.
Alderman Arnold.
Here.
Alderman Bass.
Here.
Alderman Cleaver.
Here.
Alderman Knox.
Here.
Alderman Mills.
Here.
Alderman Skinner.
Here.
There is a quorum.
Next item be invocation led by Pastor Darrell Jones of Crossroads Church, followed by pledge of allegiance from Alderman Skinner.
Blessed are you, Lord our God, King of the universe, Creator, Savior of our souls. God, we pause just for a moment to recognize that you are the giver of life, breath, land, health, our jobs, our homes, cars, all the benefits that we have in this community. God, you're the giver of structure, of government. You've authorized our leaders through the power of the people, through our vote, as we've selected these men and women to represent us, to advocate for us, to make our community better, to best fulfill your design for us. So God, I pray over each of them tonight. God, I pray that Philippians 2:3 would prevail, that each of our leaders, as they make decisions, as they intercede, as they advocate for us, that they do nothing from selfish or empty conceit, but with humility consider one another more important than themselves. May they not merely look out for their own personal interests, but also for the interest of others, as they make decisions tonight that will last not just for today and tomorrow and next week, but as they make decisions that will impact this community for decades. We pray your guidance in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next item is the approval of the agenda.
No changes, Mayor.
All right. Seeing no proclamations, and move on to public comment. We ask the citizens who wish to speak to the board come forward to the microphone, and please make sure you've signed in with your name and address for the record. Do you have anyone who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, move on to the consent agenda.
Mayor, I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Motion from Alderman Skinner to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, next item be, under previous business, be a liquor license for Iron Courtyard.
Iron Courtyard did submit their application earlier last month. Everything is now here except for the Jackson County license, which they will not send that out until they receive an approval from us saying everything's in good order. The things we are waiting on from the police department or the fingerprint side is in and everything is signed off on. So tonight we would be requesting a motion to approve the liquor license for Iron Courtyard.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion Alderman Arnold. Do I have a second?
I second.
Second, Alderman Skinner. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Seeing no more previous business, no new business or no presentations, move on to public hearing. We have a voluntary annexation to the city limits, Track 1, Dale and Teresa Smith at 4112 South Buckner-Tarsney Road, and Track 2, the Road Church at 4108 South Buckner-Tarsney Road.
Mayor, members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trozen.
Members of the board, I'll refer you to a map that's in the packet that describes the proposed annexation. Track 1 is with the address of 4112 is owned by Dale and Teresa Smith. Track 2, which is address 4108 South Buckner-Tarsney Road, is owned by the Road Church. Both of these parties have submitted annexations of voluntary annexations petitions to the city of Green Valley. The property owners are requesting annexation into the city for the availability of city utilities. The city sewer is available south of the Smith property on the west side, near Russ Road. The 12-inch water main would need to be extended north from the intersection of Buckner and Tarsney and Duncan Road for these tracks for fire protection and potable water. These would be extended at the cost of the property owners. Public notice was advertised on January 12, 2023 in the Examiner newspaper. Notification was also provided in writing to surrounding property owners and political subdivisions. Staff recommends approval. The applicants are here in the audience.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
I understand the benefit for the applicants to get sewer and water. What are the benefits for the city?
One of the benefits of the city is looking down the road as far as future growth for the city, extending city boundaries, potential for future growth and tracks to the north of the city by contiguous annexation of those properties to the north provides opportunity of other properties to the north of Grain Valley to then eventually annex into the city of Grain Valley.
The track directly south of track 1, is that already in the city?
Yes, it is.
Okay, anyone else have any discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, as this is a public hearing, we'll open it up for citizens who wish to speak for or against the annexation. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak for or against the annexation this evening? All right, seeing none, we'll close that public hearing. Next up, we have a public hearing for a petition to establish Creekside Village Subdivision Community Improvement District.
Mayor, members of the board, this is actually an issue that went back a number of years. And basically, the problem was trying to figure out a solution for the subdivision there to be able to maintain the private roads or private alleyways that were a part of that. And since then, a group of homeowners from Creekside Village have come forward and are proposing to create a CID as a mechanism for providing that funding going forward for a maintenance perspective on those private roads. So this is something that, although it comes before the board, it is not anything that would be maintained by the city or responsibility taken on by the city. Anything further than that, I'm sure Mr. Rich here would be able to give some info on that.
Well, I'm happy to answer questions, but we also have Bill Moore here on behalf of the development, who I think may want to say a few words as well.
He's back there.
All right. Does anyone have any questions?
No, he can talk.
Does he want to speak?
You,
Yeah, you might go on.
Didn't know if you were at the public hearing yet.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the board. My name is Bill Moore. I'm the attorney with Rouse Press. My Continental Roads and offices are located in Kansas City, Missouri. As you've heard, this matter goes back 7 years regarding the alleyways that were built in this particular subdivision. There have been some confusion between the HOA and the city over what we're supposed to maintain. I think that's now been clarified that in fact the HOA is responsible for maintenance of the alleyway. So in discussing this, I know the HOA board has been talking about how they could go about providing the funding mechanism to ensure they would be able to raise the funds and do the improvements. So subsequently, I guess it now goes back about 2 years ago, and the president of the HOA contacted my office and asked if I thought a community improvement district would be a viable tool for this particular issue. And after looking at it, it is in fact a very good tool to be used in conjunction with the way this is going to be set up. It's going to be a not-for-profit community improvement district. It will only have the authority to impose a special assessment for the purpose of providing the financing for the improvements that are going to have to be made on the alleyways. They're, as I understand it, they're in need of some
improvement district, they will be able to, go out and get financing for this, spread that cost over some period of time, be up to the board to make that determination, and then, get the improvements done and not have to, impose a very high fee to the property owners in any given year. Again, the mechanism that's set up in this community improvement district, since it will be, a not-for-profit corporation, we're going to actually kind of meld it with the existing HOA so that the directors of the, CID will also be the officers of the HOA. That's kind of it. In a nutshell, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right, anyone have any questions?
Is there going, you say there's no sunset on when this CID will cease to exist?
Yes, yes, sir. Under the Missouri law, there's a requirement that it cannot go beyond 27 years. So we've just in the petition, we've stated it for the maximum. I think the intent by the board of directors of the HOA, once this initial improvement is completed, and they've established a little bit of a discretionary fund to be able to do some ongoing improvement, I would expect that they would probably go ahead and terminate at that time, rather than having two entities that they would have to maintain.
What's the percentage of rental versus owner occupied there?
I don't think I can answer. I don't know. But I think it's a fairly large, rental, obviously, because I think in doing the petitions and getting the signatures on the petition pages, many of the property owners were out of state.
And I noticed that when I looked through the paperwork.
Yeah.
It looks like this is a lot easier for somebody to sign off on this one. They're not necessarily going to be the one that's going to pay that.Ey're going to pass this cost on to the renters. And
Right, but
That-
there are
they-
owner
and a renter-
occupants that are in here and that are on, I know at least one of them's on the board. So I mean, they understand they have to get this improvement done. It needs to be done in order to, maintain this as a very good subdivision.
in the assessments that they put up, and once they go into debt to make the improvements that they have to do, if for some reason the assessments aren't paid, is there any of that liability come back toward the city of Ben's? We're doing this CID.
You're asking me to answer, I think
No.
it's the CID that would be
Yeah.
responsible for it. The city has no liability. And that's one of the reasons why we're doing the CID is to, one, make sure that there is a collection mechanism. Because as you know, a CID special assessment, would be like any other entity, it would be collected by the county as opposed to an HOA that would send out an individual notice. But in the event of a non-payment, that collection activity would actually go to the county.
Correct.
Who sets the rate? Who sets the rate? The HOA board?
The board will set the rate based on, what they'll need. I know when this thing started about a little over 2 years ago, I think they had some estimates of the cost and they were in the $30,000 range. Well, we all know what's happened to the cost of this, today, right? I mean, cost of, asphalt is going up, so probably be a little bit more than that. But yes, the board will set that and it will be set based on what they have to pay back on an annual basis to whoever the,
If somebody lives in that district and wants to opt out? No?
which again is why the CID, because this is the benefit for all the, every one of the lots that says it's over 60, every one of the lots is gonna be benefiting from this improvement. Everybody, just like any other HOA, any subdivision, every single lot owner should pay.
So why was this not a vote through the HOA to assess some sort of fee structure on individuals in the neighborhood?
I think a couple of things. One, in talking to them, they didn't feel that they as an HOA would have any luck going to a lender borrowing money, whereas the CID is an established entity. It has the power, all the powers that are granted to the statute to borrow. It's have that ability. And again, as I mentioned earlier, there's that collection aspect of it. As well, probably would help with the subdivisions that have fees that are associated with it. Sometimes not all the property will pay. Rather than the HOA having to spend additional money to go collect, this would be once a year, it would certify the assessment for that improvement, submit that to the county, it gets put on the tax bill, and then the property owner pays it as they pay the taxes.
And in this CID, I guess it's restricted just to the roads, just to those named roads? This couldn't be used for like a pool upgrade or something like
It could if the board decided that that's what they would like to use their dollars for. It's unlikely that they would do that because they have that ability also as an HOA to do those kinds of improvements. So this was designed specifically for these alleyways.
But it's not written into the CID that it can only be used for that.
It's one of the stated improvements, yes, but it's not, it will not be restricted to that. But again, the CID board and the HOA board are going to be the same people. So that they're going to be making those decisions based on their powers and duties and responsibilities as the HOA.
Okay. I just kind of feel like we're circumventing the HOA process. I live in an HOA and I would, if there was something that I was against being done, say I don't want a pool upgrade or, my neighborhood, the big thing's a second pool, right? So what stops my neighborhood from going and getting a lawyer and drawing up the CID plan, coming in front of a smaller group of people, circumventing the voters in the neighborhood for the HOA and going about it that route?
I suppose they could. And again, I'm looking at part of the reason why they're doing the CID also is discussions we have with ongoing representatives of the city. I mean, the city was saying, you've got to improve this. You've got to get that done. I don't think there's an enforcement order, but I think there are improvements have to be done. And this is before I represented them. Going through that process, they arrived at the decision to go the CID route, feeling that that was going to be the best way to get this done, get it done economically, and get it done quickly.
Is there anybody from the HOA that's here tonight?
I don't think so. I asked the president if he was going to be here, or anybody else, and he said he wasn't planning on it.
And there was a there was a petition that was filed that does require a certain number of owners of the subdivision to get to this point too.
That's correct, yeah. So the law requires that it's a dual threshold for a CID petition. You have to have over 50% on a per capita basis, so individual, in this case, individual lot owners, and over 50% on an assessed valuation basis. They are at about 2/3 on the assessed value, and because there's some owners that have multiples, if you counted all those individual lots, that would be at 2/3 of the lots also. So it's not just a mere majority, it's an overwhelming majority that are saying, let's do this.
Has the HOA taken a vote on this outside of going this path and it failed, or?
I can't answer that.
Okay. Thank you.
So the majority of the people on the board and that approved it, these are landlords that hold rental property.
That's correct.
Okay. Is there a limit on how much annual assessment that they can do? I believe,
In the petition, we stated maximum of 1,000 per year, not knowing exactly how they would want to go forward and do this. assessment in place, and we've got to do it as a pay-as-you-go basis. That is not the current thought. The current thought is, let's borrow some money, let's amortize it over a longer period of time, and let's keep those payments as low as possible on an annual basis. So, to answer your question, petition says up to 1,000. In actuality, it will be substantially lower than that. You know, if you think there's over 60 lots, you know, the improvement's going to be $40,000, and you amortize that out over 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You can do the math, and you can see that the amount of that assessment is going to be fairly low.
What, if any, language in this protects the renters there, that if the landlords decide to want to turn this into a revenue stream and they utilize it for other purposes?
Well, they can only use it for stated public improvements. I mean, they can't use the CID to put money in their own pockets. So they're limited to doing public improvements.
Okay. Well, I don't want to shed bad light on these individuals, but, you know, people do deals where they have a tennis court put in for public purpose there, and they have a friend that puts it in, and there's a significant price for that, maybe way and above and far what it should have cost, you know, and that situation goes on, and then everybody's paying for this, and may not even ask for a tennis court. But there are ways around that could not benefit the current residents there.
One of the things I'll tell you is that, again, it's a political subdivision. It's actually going to be a not-for-profit thing. We will be advising that they should go out for bids for their improvements, just like you as a community will have to go out for bids for your improvements. We'll be advising them to getting ready to do asphalt to those alleyways, get some bids, so that you're getting the lowest bid possible to get the work done.
Ken, have we done something like this before with a neighborhood?
This will be the first CID, I think, for a neighborhood. So, and when I said this has been going on for a few years, probably more like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And it was the direction of the board
It's at least
then
4
to-
years, yeah.
to try to figure out something with them that would work, because it was however the problem happened, the funds that they thought were there were not there, and these improvements needed to be made, and so everybody's looking around, and they came to the city, and we're like,
4 and
well,
5
that's not
years
a-
ago, they were coming to us because they thought the city owned the alleyways. They
And so-
were in rough shape then.
Yeah, and so I think the idea of putting this out there is a possibility for them was, it's a little more, I don't know if legislated is the right word, but a little more, there's more checks and balances with something like this versus just a normal HOA where you're going out and trying to convince, you know, I know we don't know what we did with it last time, but like, you know, we're gonna drop a gigantic monthly HOA fee on you now. So that was this is really the only thing that we could even give as an idea for them to do to be able to fix the problem that, you know, it was a problem 5 or 6 years ago, and it's just gotten worse.
I'd be more comfortable with it if it was stated that it'll be for the alleyways only and it doesn't become a cash cow for them for, like I say, a swimming pool or tennis, you know, the wrong people decide to run the HOA, it could get pretty expensive for people.
I just think if the HOA wanted this, you would have somebody from the HOA here to address the board. And I appreciate you coming, but it'd been nice to
Yeah.
talk to somebody who's elected with the HOA.
Well, I can tell you that the president of the HOA lives in California. Not going to be able to be here. Keep in mind, I mean, even though there may be absentee ownership here, they do own it. They are responsible for maintaining it. And as you've heard, they've been working with the city to try and come up and be able to get it done. If they could have done it a different way, I believe they would have.
So they couldn't finance this privately?
They've looked at it and they're not able to. So that, again, so they came to my firm with the idea to do the CID. it's taken, 2 years, over 2 years, just to get the signatures. It's not necessarily an easy process.
I'm
One
very-
thing I would, oh, sorry. One thing I would say with this one, if you looked at the actual boundaries of this, because Creekside Village as a whole does include apartment buildings, a swimming pool, a clubhouse. And I believe when you look at the boundaries, this only encompasses the single-family homes. That's 100% built out at this point. So they're, unless they're tearing down a house or something like that, you couldn't physically go put something like a pool or something like that in. So this is, and that's what made this one a little interesting. It's not like there's more, you know, there's not a bunch of empty lots or anything like that in there. It's just the boundaries of what's there, the problem that they're looking at. Not even, it's not bringing in the apartments or the pool or anything like that. It's just, and if you remember, if you haven't driven over there, what makes it a little different, there are public roads that are there. But the front of the houses, they front the roads. The garages are all in the back, and the garages are all accessed via an alleyway. In this case, a private alleyway. And they got into trouble. I think part of it was their trash collector was, I mean, you remember this, was
Yeah,
driving up and down.
Trash
and,
trucks were tearing it up.
and part of the reason why it was never a city thing, it was built to a more of a private driveway kind of standard, not a city street kind of standard. It wasn't made for trash trucks and things like that to be going down. So that problem happened. Obviously, the pavement didn't stand up, and then they kind of came back to us saying, "Well, you guys need to fix it." Well, no, like it's not ours. That's why we didn't inspect it to that standard. So our role in this has been trying to give them ideas on things that they could do. And like I said, this was the best that we could come up with. And the president of the HOA that he talked about, and then another gentleman that's on the board, I believe, Tim, who owns his unit there, are kind of the two that had probably been the most active in reaching out and trying to come up with something.
Subdivision has apartments, the subdivision has clubhouses, subdivision has some other amenities. They're not in the CID. That's the HOA's responsibility to handle those. The CID, the only thing that we included were the areas that we needed to get the lots and the alleyways. So there's really nothing, there's no property that they could try to do something else on. There's no property they could put a tennis court on.
Could they purchase property with this money?
No, because, well, it would have to be property in the CID. The CID can only spend its money within the CID boundaries. It cannot spend money outside the CID boundaries. So if there was an empty lot outside the CID, they could not purchase that. They can only spend their dollars within the boundaries of the CID. They can't spend their dollars to do upgrades to the clubhouse. It's not in the CID.
Thank you.
I mentioned the tennis court because at one time there was a tennis court, basketball court down there, and it fell away through disrepair because those in the power that owned the property didn't pay to take care of, maintain it, such as we're running into here with these alleys. Would having this CID affect the city in any way when it comes to us doing other CIDs? It just, okay.
You have complete legislative discretion anytime you form one of these to say yes or no?
I'm reading the paperwork, this has been going on for quite a while, and a number of people that I did notice, a number of out-of-town addresses in the signed affidavits to adjusting to this, which led me to understand that we've got a lot of out-of-town property owners here that this sounds like another way to just put more weight back on their renters and tenants. And either way, that's going to happen because they have to pay it out of pocket and fix it right behind their house. If we have an ordinance that requiring them to maintain their lot like they're supposed to, that and we write them up for it, they're going to have to fix it, whether they do it by lot or entire alleyway or whatever. somehow they're gonna have to come up with the money, whether it be the individual owners there or the landlords that own a number of houses along there. I just see a lot of opportunity for abuse in this situation. And it makes me uncomfortable getting a political vote on a private matter. You know, the HOA should be able to handle this, I think.
Agree.
Other questions? All right. As this is a public hearing, we'll open it up to comments from the public, either for or against the CID. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak for or against CID? All right, seeing none, close the public hearing. We'll move on to resolutions. Resolution R23-07. It's a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri, approving a contract with the Grand Valley Assistance Council to provide funding for the Home Delivered Meals Program.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R23-07.
I got a motion of Alderman Skinner to approve resolution R23-07. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this is the budget item that we've had an agreement with the Grand Valley Assistance Council for a number of years, but essentially, just as it states, we reimburse up to $8,000 for the weekly Meals on Wheels or home delivered meal program that they do.
Any discussion or questions?
In reading that, it says it automatically renews, which means that if we approve this, that boards down the line would not be voting on this. It would only be renewed by not, or cease to happen if we decide to not give money toward it.
I believe there is a clause in there that says we notify them that we would
Yeah, we would
be
have-
ending it, yes.
Yeah, we'd have to file with them in writing that we were gonna cease the contract or whatever. I support the idea of having this program. I just, the fact that there's not an annual or biannual vote on it, so that we're not tying the hands of boards down the line that have to. You know, it gets into, we get into budget crunch, we have to tell them at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one side of that, when we put in there, it's a 1 year and it may be renewed, provided funding is allocated by the board. So, I mean, essentially, when you go through budget, if the board doesn't want to fund this, then it goes away. Because you are correct, we can't tie future boards down the road for that. But, essentially, if the money's not approved in the budget, then we can't go forward with that.
Sometimes whether or not money's available in the budget is a perspective issue, whether you want to spend it that way or another way. And I don't think this entity would, but, they could come back and say, well, you had more than enough money there. There's no reason why you should not be continuing this contract, so.
Yeah, so, and we do put that in there that basically the review will happen prior to, I think, November 15th.
Right.
So basically
The
it's,
city manager has to review it, yes.
mhm. So the way it works too is basically they submit their costs on a monthly basis to us. We go through, verify that and make sure that we're not going over that amount.
Okay.
But by the November 15th, we would have gone through the
Do a cost
budget.
benefit analysis. And the
Yeah, I
number
mean,
of
we would have
people
gone
that
through
they're
the-
helping versus it's been spent, yeah. Okay.
I think the key in there too is just provided funding is allocated, so it doesn't say whether it's available or not. It's just whether, when the board approves the budget, they're choosing to allocate it towards that or not. So,
Yeah, and I would say it's up to 8,000. We don't. I think for this last year, we actually 6,600 is what the bills actually came out to. So it's not a check up front.
Right.
We only reimburse.
I just read it as if we were basically tying the hands of the board down the line by having it auto renewed.
No, like I said, in this case, for one, it has to be approved in the budget, and then we go through and make sure it actually makes sense before, or is working the way we had projected.
Discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay. Next up, resolution R23-08. Resolution authorizing the city administrator into an audit agreement with Trout Beeman and Company for auditing services for the city of Grand Valley for 2022 through 2026.
Mayor, I make a motion that we approve resolution R23-08.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Arnold to approve resolution R 23-08. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Bass. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, Trout Beeman has been the accounting firm that we have used for a number of years. And this would be basically extending that agreement with them. We have been happy with their services, and they have been very flexible as far as adding things on. We've gone through, like the recovery fund dollars and things like that. They've been able to account for those single audits that have been required.
Any discussion or questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And next up, we have resolution R 23-09. The resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to expend funds to purchase computer equipment.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 23-09.
Okay, I have a motion from Alderman Bass to approve resolution R 23-09. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Moons. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trozen.
Thank you. This is to replace existing computer desktops, laptops, monitors, equipment. We have a computer equipment replacement program. This equipment purchase was included in the 2023 budget. When we presented it to you, we had gotten a quote from CDW government. That quote was $33,950. When we went back and just recently got a quote for the same equipment, the quote was $25,831, which is in this resolution. So therefore a savings. So we're requesting approval of this resolution to go forward with the purchase.
Discussion or questions?
Current equipment being traded in or surplus and sold or what?
Most of the time, the equipment is being surplused because of its age. It's out of warranty. There's not much value in that equipment.
Okay, so it will go to an auction or a sale or
We try and sell it, but not very many people will buy the age of this equipment.
Additional discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, we have resolution R 23-10, a resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to purchase a 2023 Chevrolet Silverado 1500 double cab truck and a 2023 Silverado 1500 crew cab truck for use by community development and public works.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 23-10.
I have a motion from Alderman Cleaver to accept resolution R 23-10. Do I have a second?
second.
Second, Alderman Arnold. Any discussion?
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trozen again.
So both of these vehicles are in our adopted program called the Vehicle Equipment Replacement Program that is based on age, mileage, and maintenance costs. The vehicles that they will be replaced will go for sale through a program that we go out through auction. So they will get a value based back on the whatever that auction value will be. But these are replacing two vehicles that are, there's justification in regards to the replacement of those vehicles based on their age, mileage, and maintenance costs. The selection of these vehicles are based on, one of the vehicles are based on to our building official on the double cab truck, and the other one is for the public works superintendent that would be based for the crew cab truck. These were included in the budget.
Any questions or discussion?
Mark, what's the difference between a crew cab and a double cab?
So a double cab is basically an extended cab.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but
They just put 4 doors on them to make it look different.
just got the small.
But it's the
doors.
small.
Okay.
And I'm assuming they're gonna be white. I know the paperwork that came out showed black trucks, but
Yes.
okay, didn't want to assume, so I just
Keep
asked.
consistent with our fleet, yes.
No questions or discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up, we have resolution R 23-11, A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to purchase a John Deere Z99 7R commercial mower for use by Parks Maintenance staff for daily grounds maintenance.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution R 23-11.
A motion by Alderman Knox to approve resolution R 23-11. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Mills. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this was another thing that came up during budget. It was included in the VERP, the Vehicle Equipment Replacement Program. But this will upgrade one of the older units that Parks has.
Any discussion or questions? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Next up, we have resolution R 23-12. A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley authorizing the city administrator to purchase a rotary flex max 414 lift for use by fleet maintenance to maintain and repair fleet vehicles.
Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number R 23-12.
We have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve resolution R 23-12. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Give it to Mr. Trozen again.
We had talked about this during the budget workshops as well. This is also included in the budget. We had budgeted $50,000 for this item, but as you can see, costs came back under budget, $45,136, and therefore we're recommending approval of the Rotary Flex Max lift.
Questions or discussion?
What's its capacity?
The capacity of this will lift 56,000 pound capacity.
Discussion, questions? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Next up is resolution R 23-13. A resolution by the Board of Aldermen of the City of Grand Valley, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to purchase a Fairmac Pro Series message sign.
I move that we approve resolution number R 23-13.
Got a motion by Alderman Skinner to approve resolution R 23-13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Knox. Any discussion?
Yeah. Mayor and members of the board, this was something that came up during budget, but we don't currently have one of the pull-behind signs that we can, message board signs. We have to rely on borrowing or renting, so this would allow us to have the same type sign that we have been borrowing or renting.
Discussion, questions?
I'm assuming you buy all the adequate and necessary equipment to see that it stays where you put it.
A hope and a prayer.
Anything else? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Next up's ordinances.
The first one is Bill number B23-01. This is an ordinance amending Title III Traffic Code, Chapter 382, Vehicle Weight, Size, and Load Limits, Section 382.030, Weight Regulations, Commercial Vehicles over 5 tons prohibited on the City of Green Valley Municipal Code.
I move that we accept second reading of bill number B 23-01 and approve it as ordinance 2407.
I have a motion by Alderman Mills to approve ordinance B 23-01 for its second reading, making an ordinance 2407. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Skinner. Any discussion?
Just noticed this was for 5 ton. I know other signs I've seen, I know Mentor over here has an 8 ton limit on it, so I didn't know. Is there a consistency on what we put on load limits? 5 ton versus 8 ton versus 10 ton?
Good question.
My assumption would be Mentor would be a county
Yeah.
rule and not
Well,
city.
it's on our side of the road, I'm sure. It's something we put up.
We don't have Mentor at all.
No, that's not.
So that would be a county sign.
Fine.
Yeah. This was a recommendation by the city engineer as far as the 5 ton. So it would cover the semi trucks that the PepsiCo was hauling into the facility.
You could probably answer my question better. Some people with trucks and RVs are getting close to that number. it might prohibit somebody with an RV is lost trying to get into the,
Commercial
RV.
only.
Hmm.
It's written for commercial.
well, it could be a guy delivering commercial too.
Is there an exception in this for like deliveries and?
Yes,
I'll let you
there
speak
is.
on that. Go
Yes, there is. In the ordinance, an exception can be granted to a business that has semi-trucks, deliveries being made to it. So there is that business right off of Tire, an exception can be granted to that particular load limit.
Is there an exception for like, if you're building a house, is that something that they have to come to the city for and get
Yes.
permission? Okay.
Yes, the exception is granted under the ordinance by the city engineer or by the public works superintendent, as it's written now.
Okay. Do we have any other that have just like implicit exceptions, like, for construction, for emergency vehicles, which would probably fall under commercial, but is there anything like that that we have just kind of implicity? I've seen that in other, when we had these discussions, obviously I think I was the one that kind of brought this up to get the ball moving on this. When I was looking at some other cities, more on the Kansas side, they had some of those exceptions just written to their ordinance off the bat to stop somebody from having to come to the city and get something in writing.
Yeah, so I don't know of any. I mean, typically when we have a building project starting or a development, that's one of the things that we go over. And then you'll see signs up that'll even say like construction entrance this way or construction traffic this way. If we know it's something that's going to be over an extended period of time. I don't know if there's anything for more one-off type deals. And that's the problem with what we're currently fighting is it's essentially through traffic.
Sure.
Like they have no reason to be on the road.
Right.
Whereas if somebody's delivering to like Tri-County at the water tower, it's a one, they know where they're going. That's a one, just a in and out kind of thing. So I don't think we have anything to answer your question. That's just, I don't think we account for that currently.
What does this do to the ones down on East Terrace that have semis?
This is on
So this is just for Tire.
Tire Road.
This is just adding that section in there.
That's
So what you see in there, it would be roads that are already in there. This is just adding
Oh, okay.
this road.
Okay. I've slept since we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with the ordinance. I think it's very much needed. My only, just to save city employees having to write up a piece of paper and reviewing stuff, I'm just wondering if it would be easier when the ordinance is put in place to have just automatic exceptions put in place.
Yeah. So, and maybe I pulled this up while you're talking.
Okay.
Maybe I should have read it close. So what this is going into now, 5 tons is just the way our ordinance is, but and I apologize for my voice, but no person shall operate a commercial vehicle with gross weight over that, except that such vehicles may make local deliveries upon such streets. Construction vehicles working in areas serviced only by such streets shall enter and leave the area by the shortest and most direct routes, which is kind of what we talk about, like telling them where they need to go so they're not on all the different roads. So I guess
So it's
it is in there. Yeah, I didn't realize it was even that specific.
Gotcha. Works for me.
Me too. Any other questions, comments? All right, this will be roll call.
Alderman Arnold,
Yes?
Alderman Bass,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
and Alderman Skinner.
Yes.
The next one is Bill number B23-02. This is the first reading. An ordinance of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, imposing a local sales tax for general revenue purposes at the rate of 3% pursuant to the authority granted by Article, what is that? Does anyone know that Roman numeral?
14.
14, isn't it? And 14?
Is it 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, and providing for submission of the proposal to the qualified voters of the city for approval at an election to be held on the 4th day of April, 2023.
Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B23-02 and bring it back for its second reading by title only as ordinance 2408.
I have a motion by Alderman Skinner to approve Bill B 23-02 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Cleaver? All right, any discussion?
So mayor and members of the board, if you remember back to when the recreational marijuana bill was passed, it did a few things, but some of the things it did was it placed a state sales tax on it. But it also provided the opportunity for cities or counties to place an additional 3% tax on the sale of adult use marijuana. So basically, this April is the first opportunity for any cities to go and put that on the ballot. And so it's been a topic of most cities in the metro, and with the exception of a few, like maybe 3, I think I know of, it's going to be on all the cities' ballots coming up in April, including also Jackson County. Right now we have just the manufacturing and the distribution side of it. This is one of those things. It feels right to put it out there and allow it to be voted on with all the surrounding cities in April. Obviously, it's something that the citizens have to pass, but different from other sales tax, this was just specific to the purchasing of adult use marijuana. So this does not get stacked on any additional sales tax we have for any other item. This is just for that specific use. So that's what you have before you. So this would be the only question that we would have on for the April ballot.
This is pretty much in line with what tobacco sales tax now is, right?
I believe it's fairly close on that. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but
I apologize.
Very close. Any questions or discussion?
We currently don't have any facilities selling publicly marijuana in the city, so we're not looking at a huge amount of money coming in from this unless shops pop up all of a sudden.
And so that is one of the thoughts is and it was just the medical marijuana side of it. It was very narrow, and the number was very small that they allowed as far as licenses. There are some provisions in there that that's expected to grow quite a bit. And since it does have to be put on the ballot to do it, the idea is kind of doing it now versus, falling behind and missing out on that going forward. And part of the idea with it is it's kind of an unknown on what services might be needed going forward because of the passage of this. So that, I think that's kind of why they allowed cities to go out for this, was to kind of cover their bases for, tackling any issues that may come from it.
So as of today, we would get zero revenue off of this because we don't have any. But I mean, also, if someone does get a license wants to come to town, they would know ahead of time that there is a tax on it.
Listening to other cities wrestling with this decision as well, some are earmarking this for education and policing type activities because that's where our additional cost is going to come from. Would we want to consider earmarking anything that we get from this to go toward that?
Yeah, and
that,
so
that-
yeah, and
so it
so
doesn't get lost in general revenue.
and so there are, I would say, a majority of them are going the general revenue route. Part of that being the unknown, and I don't know for everyone else, but for us, the police side of it is all included in general fund. So we think that would be, and obviously we'll know what we get in, but I think as we move forward, if we were to get those facilities in, that's something that the board could look at and be able to, say we want to use this revenue for this item. The general fund does cover a lot of things, but when we go through the budget, there's those revenue lines that show exactly what's coming in from each use, and then we have the expenditures to go along with it. So I think it does give a little more flexibility to kind of, move as we see what the needs truly are. Because a lot of those things that you talked about, that would be things that would normally be included in the general fund, whether programs or police-related activities.
Any additional questions, discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, this is the second reading of Bill number B23-02. This is an ordinance of the City of Green Valley, Missouri, imposing a local sales tax for general revenue purposes at the rate of 3% pursuant to the authority granted by Article 14, Section 2.6, Section 5 of the Missouri Constitution and providing for submission of the proposal to the qualified voters of the city for approval at an election to be held on the 4th day of April 2023.
I move that we accept the second reading of bill number B 23-02 and approve it as ordinance number 2408.
Okay. I have a motion by Alderman Skinner to approve Bill B 23-02 for its second reading, making ordinance 2408. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, this will be roll call.
Alderman Skinner,
Yes.
Alderman Mills,
Yes.
Alderman Knox,
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver,
Yes.
Alderman Bass,
Yes.
Alderman Arnold.
Yes.
The next one is Bill number B 23-03. This is an ordinance annexing certain real property that is contiguous and compact to the existing city limits of Green Valley, Missouri for Dale and Teresa Smith and the Road Church.
Mayor, I move that we approve Bill 23-03 for its first reading and bring it back for its second reading by title only.
Okay. I have a motion, Alderman Arnold, to approve Bill B 23-03 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Skinner. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this is just the ordinance that goes along with the public hearing we held earlier.
Have any additional discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
This is the first reading of Bill number B 23-04. This is an ordinance approving the final development plan for Copper Creek and the final plat for the lofts at Creekside Landing.
Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B 23-04 and bring it back for its second reading by title only in our next regular session.
Okay. I have a motion, Alderman Bass, to accept Bill B 23-04 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Cleaver. Any discussion?
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Trozen. Can't trust my voice for too long.
Mayor and members of the board, the action before you is Blue Springs Safety Storage South LLC is requesting approval of the final development plan for Copper Creek and final plat approval for the lofts at Creekside Landing. The preferred land use map in the city's comprehensive plan illustrates this area as multifamily residential. As you recall, the Board of Aldermen approved ordinance 2395 on September 26, 2022, changing the zoning on approximately 7.53 acres to District R3P Multifamily Residential District Plan Overlay District, and approval of the preliminary development plan plat for the lots at Creekside Landing. The applicant is changing the name of the development to Copper Creek. The final development plan is identical to the approved preliminary development plan and complies with the requirements of the city's land use requirements. The Planning and Zoning Commission reviewed and recommends approval to the Board of Aldermen of the final development plan and final plat at their January 11th, 2023 meeting. Staff recommends approval.
Questions or discussion?
The road leading into this and around the deal, that's all gonna be private.
The road leading in is public until it's the parking lot. And the road leading in is 36 feet wide, so it's adequate for 3 lanes.
Because that's gonna give our plow truck drivers a dead end, turn around, and come back out, because they're not gonna be making the loop around the subdivision. Okay.
It is public right now.
To where they park the cars and trailers right now.
Yes, sir.
I still feel that this is not needed. We're building so much more rental property now up north. We've got the apartments coming online down behind Captain's. We've got more apartments, fourplexes being built along Cross Creek. We had a road study done so that we could close parking on Snybar because of the traffic that's gonna be entailed there. That survey showed around, what'd you tell me, Mr. Trolson, around 350 cars?
Believe so, yes.
So we're gonna be adding that coming out of this subdivision, so That along with the public opinion was strongly not in favor of this as well. I think the original plan for that piece of land would have been acceptable with duplexes and fourplexes, but 3-story, 24-unit apartment buildings is a bit much for crowding a lot in on a small piece of land.
Well, I disagree. You said that we had a large number of people that were against it. I've heard from 3 people, so I don't agree with your assessment of a large number of people to disagree with this development, so just wanted to state that.
Any other additional discussion or questions? All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Okay, the next one is the first reading of Bill Number B23-05. This is an ordinance amending Section 340.190 to update the designation of emergency routes within the city.
Mayor, I move that we accept the first reading of bill number B23-05 and bring it back for its second reading, title only.
I have a motion from Alderman Cleaver to accept Bill B23-05 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Alderman Skinner. Any discussion?
Mayor, members of the board, this is in some ways kind of a housekeeping item. This isn't changing policy on anything. This is just adding the roads as needed with with the new roads being added in subdivisions. We need to account for those in the code. So this would be an update to our emergency snow routes within the city. I'm sure Mr. Trozen will be happy to answer any additional questions. There was a map, and I think when it went out the first time, it compressed and was white. So that's why you have a hard copy before you there. But one comment we do get from these maps are, well, my street's not on there. Nothing's going to happen. So we don't put the residential streets on there. We just put the primary and secondary routes just to give an idea of what those priority roads are in the event of a snowstorm.
Hopefully you don't get to use this Wednesday.
Hopefully.
Anyone have any questions or discussion? I'm gonna let Mark off. I thought he was ready to talk about it. All right. Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
The next is the first reading of Bill Number B23-06. This is an ordinance approving a petition to establish the Creekside Village Community Improvement District, establishing the term of existence of the district, directing the city clerk to report the creation of the district to the Missouri Department of Economic Development, and authorizing certain actions related thereto.
Mayor, I move that we approve Bill B2306 and bring it back by title only at our next regular scheduled meeting.
I have a motion from Alderman Knox to approve Bill B23-06 for its first reading, bring it back by title only for its second reading. Do I have a second?
Second.
Alderman Mills. Any discussion?
Mayor and members of the board, this is the ordinance that went along with the public hearing for the Creekside Village subdivision.
Questions or discussion? Y'all look like you're gonna talk with me. Okay. Everyone was like, all right.
Said it all earlier.
Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
So,
Call that one.
okay, I know Skinner was nay, and who else?
Nay.
Nay.
And nay.
Knox? Okay. Thank you, I'm sorry.
And nays, the rest of it.
And Arnold, there we go. So 3 and 3.
Okay, yes.
That's it.
That's it for ordinances. Next up, city attorney's reports.
No report, sorry. No report, I'm sorry, I was making notes.
He said no.
All right, next up, city administrator staff reports.
Mr. Trozen.
So our 2023 pavement maintenance program is out to bid. This is our overlay program. We've have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow at 2 p.m. And then our proposals are due February 2nd. We'll be bringing then the proposals to the Board of Aldermen, probably in March or April. And then, as you know, usually then the program gets started, usually late spring, early summer, just depending upon the asphalt plants and where the companies are, in their programming as well.
The only other thing, just wanted to thank those of you that were able to make it to the joint workshop for the comp plan update and the Parks Master Plan. I think that process is going well, so excited to see what's next with that. That's all the staff reports.
All right, next up is Board of Alderman reports and comments. Alderman Arnold.
Notice went out around 9 o'clock in the morning for a meeting we were having for teaching people about cyber protection and so forth. It was from noon to 1 today. And it just seemed like a short notice to be posted 9 o'clock today of the deal. I don't know if it went out any earlier or not.
Yeah, so we've announced it at the senior luncheon. So it's actually a staff member that just on their own time has decided over the lunch hour to start doing these things. I think it's every Monday, isn't it? With just different topics that so we're kind of just trying to get it going.
Well, it sounded like a great thing to be
Yeah.
getting done. I just would like to have a little
And it
more
is something we could get
time to
out.
lead up so
We could
people
start
make
getting
plans.
more reminders out. I think I'm guessing it's probably going to be included in one of the publications we have coming out as well. But yeah, that's actually a staff member that on their own decided to go out and do that over their lunch hour. So yeah, we will be looking for ways to get that out more. We did have them make a presentation at this last senior luncheon as well.
Just want to get that information out so people know the good things we're doing. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounded like a good program to have out there, but so many people are getting, having issues over
Yeah.
the internet. Attended the Missouri State Fair Spirit Classic flag competition or cheer competition in Sedalia on the 14th. Our local Green Valley Athletics Association Commissioner April Watkins needs to be congratulated. The squad that they took down took first place in their division. Also the best spirited team and high scorer in the league. And they also were told when they picked up their paperwork from the judges that they had the most spirited fan base from the crowd of anybody that was competing. So I want to congratulate them. The young ladies that are involved in it from second grade to sixth grade, spread out through both the middle schools and elementary schools in the community. So there's not really a good way to tell them all congratulations, but they worked hard doing that, and they do deserve recognition for representing Green Valley well. That's all I have.
Alderman Mills.
Nothing at this time.
Bass.
Nothing at this time.
Yeah, just to congratulate Rylan Childs. Am I saying her last name right? Did I butcher her last name? The Green Valley alumni soccer player who went to KU and was just drafted to the KC Current for professional soccer. So congratulations, sir.
Alderman Knox.
I have nothing.
Alderman Cleaver.
Nothing?
Okay. Next up, mayor's report. I just have one thing I want to thank, it's probably a combination, police department, I think Teresa was there too. Last night with the post updating regarding the, carjacking car that was found up off Artie Mize. I know, people see that much, activity from the PD, they start getting a little worried about what's going on. So I appreciate when we can get the word out about that. And I happened to be driving by and saw it all, and I was like, well, what's going on? There's not that much action around here. And I saw the officers knocking on doors and stuff, so I thought, okay, well, hopefully we'll get something out, and we did. I appreciate that. So I think the more we can do about those types of things, it really, helps our communication with the public. So thanks for that. That's all I have. I believe we do have a need for an executive session.
Yeah, good. 1 legal, 2 real estate, 3 personnel, and 13 personnel.
All right. So now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
So moved.
Alderman Knox, do I have a second? Second, Alderman. All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none, it'll be your roll call. Alderman Arnold?
Yes.
Alderman Mills?
Yes.
Alderman Bass?
Yes.
Alderman Skinner?
Yes.
Knox?
Yes.
Alderman Cleaver?
Yes.
All right, we'll adjourn to executive session.